All right. I don't know what time it is. Once again, I'm your host with the most, teacher Judea, One Nation Israelite School. Shalom. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. We about close to the closeout of the Sabbath, so we just want to touch this class. Today we're going to be doing the breakdown of Benjamin, and then we're going to go into the second Edsras 13 breakdown. So I'm gonna try to make mine short and sweet. Then we're gonna let be brought out by one of my brethren. Okay, so let's do it. The breakdown to Benjamin. So we're gonna dismember this lie about Benjamin. Now they tell you for certain that Benjamin is the so-called Jamaicans and West Indies and all that stuff. Right. Now remember, when we was doing other tribes, I had said from the jump, I said, well, damn. Simeon, Levi, Benjamin, all of them in the West Indies. So how you gonna just necessarily tie them and say, oh, the Jamaicans is Benjamin? Okay, so let's get it. Let's go to Genesis 35. Start at verse 15. Genesis 35 and 15.
You said 15?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 15. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel traveled, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benjamin. But his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day.
All right. So now here we see when Benjamin was born. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad when you think about it, because Benjamin's mother, Rachel, died during his birth, at his birth. She gave birth to him, was around long enough to give him a name, but then she died. Now, Rachel is who to Jacob? His cousin. Now, and she's from the same tribe, right?
Right.
According to Tobit 4 and 12. So if Rachel and Jacob are cousins of the same tribe and they had a son, then what is the son?
Same tribe.
He'd be the same tribe. He's a Negro. All right. So now let's go to, I just wanted to cover that, show y'all the birth of Benjamin, how Rachel died at his birth. So now let's go to Genesis 49 and let's pick up at verse 27.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 27. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil.
All right. So now Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. Now they tell you this is Benjamin, the Jamaicans, because they howl in their music. They whoo in their music, like who? Bob Marley. Let's say now they tell you that this has nothing to do with their music. And Benjamin himself tells you he's Judah. He got the lion on his flag. They have the lion on their flag. So now it says that Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. Let's see what the word raven means. You come to nothing to do with damn music. Give me a second. Raven, violent seizure of prey or property, to plunder. So it means violent seizure of prey or property. Okay, so it says that raven, as a raven wolf, basically means to devour, because they were a warlike tribe. It had nothing to do with music. Okay, so read 27 again.
Verse 27. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey.
So go ahead.
And at night he shall divide the.
When you read that, notice there's only one verse about Benjamin there. Did that give you anything about a damn location? Out of all the tribes we went through, only one tribe had a location for where they were, which was Zebulun. So out of all tribes, is there any location there? No. So how did they take 12 tribes and just decide they're going to be here, they're going to be there, they're going to be here, they're going to be there? They are this people and that people and this people and that people. I need y'all to understand this. Like when you got Manasseh and Ephraim come from the same dad.
Yeah.
And one of them Puerto Rican and the other one Cuban.
How the hell? But they try to play people stupid.
I'm saying, not mistaken. This is where the stupidity of them come at. Ephraim was mistaken for a damn Egyptian. So what color was he then?
Yeah, Joseph was.
Salakia, Joseph. That's what I mean. Joseph was mistaken for an Egyptian. Remember, his own brothers didn't even know that bingo.
Yeah.
So all right. So with that being said, now
all these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it, that their father spake unto them and blessed them. Everyone according to his blessing, he blessed them.
Okay. So now, with that, we can leave Benjamin, because that clearly shows you in Genesis 49, there is no location that you could just say this is where Benjamin's at. Okay. And let's go somewhere else now. I want to go to Second Edsras. I told you I'm trying to make it short and sweet so I can let y'all get this information that I really wanted to have, but because our library ain't as fat right now, you know what I'm saying, my brethren said he would be more than happy to bless us with a piece of his library. So let's do this. Let's do it. Second Edsras chapter 13 now. So start at verse 1 real quick. I just want to get this for the people who love to run here.
Second Edsras chapter 13 and verse 1.
Because you know it's more than 6 verses in this chapter. But for some reason they only read 6.
Amazing. Amazing. Second Edsras chapter 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night.
So when this whole thing kicks off, what is this?
A big dream.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's read on. Nah, read on. From 2.
And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
Now, that man who waxed strong with the thousands of heavens, who is that?
Christ.
That's talking about Christ. You read that in Revelations. Okay. Watch this. Read on real quick.
And And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice.
All they burned that heard his voice. Okay, go ahead.
Like as the earth felleth when it filleth the fire.
Go ahead.
And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered thousands of multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had braved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place.
Okay, as a fact, hold on real quick, before we get too far. Give me Revelations 19. I'm gonna go to Revelations 19. Let me find it. Revelation 19. Start at start at 12.
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of God.
So who is this talking about?
Christ.
Right? Watch this, read on.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Now, what is that? What do we just read that at? Okay, so what is that? What is your what? Okay. Okay. All right. All right, so let's go back to Edsras now. If y'all don't know exactly where to place it, we'll read it back again when we get off camera.
All right. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not.
Right. So Edsras is telling you he couldn't see this place that all this stuff was going down at. All right. Read on.
And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war.
Where we at? Go ahead.
But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest.
Now, tempest is very, very violent winds. Go ahead.
And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon the sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterward, I saw the same man come down from the mountain and call unto him another peaceable multitude.
Okay, he called unto him another peaceable multitude. Come on.
And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, but some were sorry. Some of them were bond, and other sums bought of them that were offered.
Right, because you got the time where it's telling you he would wipe the tears from their faces. Y'all are familiar with that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We'll go get that later. I just got to remember where's that. Keep going.
All of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer.
All right. So now, he breaks all of this down to you, right? All of that is a dream, right? So now, what's going to happen? He's going to get the interpretation of what he dreamed. Let's go to 15.
Verse 15?
Yeah.
All right. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream. For as I conceive in my understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare.
All right, jump down to 21.
21. The interpretation of the vision shall I shew thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind. This is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works in faith toward the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead.
Okay, watch this. Now it's going to start explaining.
This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea, the same is he whom God the highest have kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature. And he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came out a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation.
All right. So you got many nations that was fighting, and then when Christ appeared, they stopped fighting each other to try to subdue Christ. But we saw the results of that. All right. So now, watch this. Watch this. This is going. I'm having y'all read this, so because we already read it, but to see the foolishness of what they try to pull over you if you don't read. Now they tell you the reason why we read Second Edsras is only to get to the point of them saying that they came to America. They came to America. What we reading this to do is show you that that's a lie.
Right.
So watch this. Read on.
Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another. One city against another, one place against another. Another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I shewed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in his own land lead the battle they have one against another. And then an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come.
Hold on. Read 34 again.
And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting.
Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
But he shall stand upon the mount. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come, and shall be shewed to all men, being prepared and built, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts in the torments, wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall do without labor, which is like unto fire. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered, And whereas thou sowest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him.
Right. So he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. So now we know that the gathering period point blank is going to be Christ. You know what I'm saying? When you the gathering of Christ, remember Genesis 49, Genesis, what is it, 49 and 10, something like that. When Christ flow shall be.
Yeah.
So you got Genesis 49 and 10 tells you who the gathering is going to be to. You got Isaiah 11 and 12 and 13, and 11 and 12 tells you about who the gathering shall be to.
Right.
All right. So we know that there's talking about Christ. So this whole time, all this is talking about that return of Christ. You know what I'm saying? And events that's going to take place when he returns in this vision, right? So now, let's get to the lies. Let's see who these people are, the peaceable multitude unto him. Which you also know about a multitude, the unnumberable multitude. You got Revelations, what, 7 and 4? No, Salaki, I said 7 and 4. Revelation 7 and 9. And yes, Revelation 7 and 9. Where it says, after this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. All right. So now let's pick it up. Verse 40. Here we go. Let's get it.
Verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whose son of Manasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
Right. Led away captive. Come on.
And he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land.
Right. So you got the 10 tribes that were carried away captive, right? And they were placed in different captive lands. Now, not saying this is a direct hit, but go to First Chronicles 5 and 25, right? Where it tells you about when we was breaking down Gad. Yeah, and I'm gonna give y'all some other stuff off camera, even if we don't touch it right now, as soon as it's over. But we're gonna give y'all some other spots. But this here is just a show of us being carried away, of the 10 tribes being carried away, and how they were placed in certain lands. First Chronicles chapter 5, verse 25.
First Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 25. And they transgressed against the God of their fathers, and went a whoring after the gods of the people of the land, whom God destroyed before them. And the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Paul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto Halah.
That's one city.
And Habar.
That's another city.
And Harah.
That's another city.
And to the river Gazan unto this day.
Right. So those are all cities that you read about the tribes being scattered through. This is what you got to understand about captivity, which is why I say a lot of that stuff that they taught is stupid, because the slave masters, they didn't take families and put them all in one area together. They split them and set them up deliberately. All right. So right there is just like a place where you can kind of see how when they took them, they placed some here, some there, some here, some there. All right. Let's go back to Edsras. verse 41.
Second Edsras chapter 13 and verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
So they said they will go to a country where never mankind dwelt. Now, these people would have you believe, see, they went to a place where never mankind dwelt, and that was America. Because nobody dwelt in America when you know that that's an actual lie. There were people in America, just not in certain parts. Just like, guess what? Where we was at, people was there, but there were certain parts where people didn't set up and make civilization.
Right.
As a fact, get me Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 6. It says a place where never mankind dwelt, right? So watch this. Let's see what this says. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 6.
Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 6. Neither said they, where is the Lord that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, that led us through the wilderness, through a land of deserts and of pits, through a land of drought and of the shadow of death, through a land that no man passed through, and where no man dwelt.
And where no man dwelt. Was they over here in America when they was going through this place where no man dwelt? So if that's the case, then right here we just prove what? That's an assumption. That's an insertion for you to say that was America.
Right.
Because we reading what they was leaving out of Egypt and stuff. And we know when they left Egypt, they didn't come to no damn America.
How the hell they walk away from that?
And here's another thing. When they left Egypt, did they take a ship to get across the sea, or did they walk through it?
No, they walk through it.
I just want to put that out there. Remember I said that. Let's keep reading. Second Edsras.
Second Edsras chapter 13 and verse 42. That they might there keep their statues which they never kept in their own land.
That they may keep statues that they never kept in their own land. Come on.
And they entered the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
And they entered the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. Now, it just said they entered in through the narrow passages. So where in the hell could a boat fit there on a narrow passage? Here's another thing. They coming up out of the land. It's thousands of them. How many boats would they had to have built?
Y'all gonna say one boat coming to carry.
Why you don't read nothing about them building a boat? When Noah built, how long it took? Yeah. So imagine you building a boat to fit thousands and thousands and thousands on it. We don't read that here. It's a lie. And we're going to show you that. Watch this. Read on.
For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
So here's the lie. They took on boat. They got boats and went over to the guess the side of the Euphrates is Turkey or Asia. Remember, I kept saying that could be Asia Minor. Remember, I was doing it. Okay, watch this. So I'm gonna show you. He said they passed over the Euphrates, right? Over the Euphrates River. Did it say pass over or pass down through? Because there's a difference between over something and through something.
Right.
I'm saying, all right. So now watch this. I'm gonna show you that just because you see the word river doesn't mean you had to have a boat. It's not like it's strange for our people to pass over rivers and over waters without a boat.
Right.
Let's prove it. Watch this. Go to Genesis 31:17. Genesis 31:17.
Genesis chapter 31 and verse 17. Genesis chapter 31 and verse 17. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten the cattle of his getting.
Right. So here we read about Jacob doing what again? Read it one more time. 31:17.
Oh. Jacob chapter 31, verse 17. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives.
Set them up. Okay. Watch this. Read on.
And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan.
All right, now go ahead and jump down to 21.
Verse 21. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and set his face toward the Mount Gilead.
So here, did he take a boat to get over that river? No, he was on camels. They walked across the river. Okay, that's one. Let's go to Joshua 2:7. Let's go to Joshua 2:7. For all those, they had to take a boat because they went through the Euphrates. It's places that when they say narrow passages, you should do some research because it may be telling you they was probably able to walk through that part.
Right. Joshua chapter 2 and verse 7. And the man pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords.
Unto the fords. Now, here's where I need y'all to do something. Well, I don't want y'all to exit the class out. Oh shit. I need somebody to get on Google and define the word ford. Google definitely, like when you go to Google, put in the word ford, F-O-R-D.
A shallow place in a river or stream, allowing one to walk or drive across.
All right. So I need you to read that so the camera and stuff can catch you though. Okay. Now read that verse again. So we got the word for it pulled up. We're gonna read the definition of it. So read that verse again.
All right. Joshua chapter 2 and verse 7. And the man pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate.
All right. So it says, and the man pursued after them on the way to Jordan unto the fords. Fords is what? A shallow place in a river or stream, allowing one to walk or drive across. So the shallow, narrow passages is what? A place where they were able to do what? Walk across. Okay. Let's go back to no. As a fact, let's go to Judges 3 and 28. Give me a second, y'all. Shalom.
Judges chapter 2 and verse 8.
No, 3:28.
3:28, my bad. Judges chapter 3 and verse 28. Judges chapter 3 and verse 28. And he said unto them, follow after me, for the Lord hath delivered your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. And they went down after him and took the fords of Jordan toward Moab, and suffered not a man to pass over.
Hell still the floods. Ain't that what ain't that what Edsras said? So what is this telling you? They went through a place that was what? Shout through it. There's nothing in here that has a boat written in it. Okay. Now let's get this word flood real quick. Go to Genesis 11 and 10. I know I'm bringing it out. So you bringing it out.
Genesis chapter 11 and verse 10. These are the generation of Shem. Shem, you said 11 and 10?
Yeah.
All right. Genesis chapter 11 and verse 10. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Edsras 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begot Edsras 500 years and begot sons and daughters. And Edsras lived 5 and 30 years and begot Salah.
That was 11 and 10.
Yes.
All right. When it says flood there, right?
Yeah.
When you look that in the Hebrew, it's it's Mabud or Mabad, Mabul, something like that. It's H399. Some use H286. It says in the sense of flooding a deluge. I mean, in the sense of flowing a deluge, flood. Okay, watch this. Go to Joshua 24, verse 1 and 2.
Joshua 24.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua chapter 24, verse 1. And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem.
Yeah.
And called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers, and they presented themselves before God. And Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time.
All right, so there it says the floods again. What verse was that?
2.
All right, flood. There is Nahar, H502, a stream including the sea, especially the Nile and Euphrates, etc. Figuratively, prosperity, flood, river. Now, if you in a boat, what you got to understand is you ain't worried about a damn flood. If you're in a boat, as a fact, if he holding still the flood, you would actually hope for a flood if you're in a boat. Because if there's no flood there, then guess what? You're gonna be stuck in mud. Right. So that right there alone is like chops to that false doctrine.
Right.
Okay. Did you finish out 2, or did I cut you off? Go ahead and finish 2.
Even Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods.
All right. So now let's go back to Edsras. Go back to Edsras, pick up at 44 again.
But the Most High then showed sign for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. But through that country there was a great way to go.
Hold on. Here's a point right here. For through that or to that?
Through that.
Or to that?
Through that.
For through that country, not to that country. For through that country, not to that country. There's a big difference in that.
Mm-hmm.
For to that country means this is how long it took to get to there. For through that country means how long it took for them to get from what country, not to the country. That's the lie right there. It took them 1.5 years to get to America. No, this didn't say nothing about going to America. This is saying to get through the country they was at, it took 1.5 years. Read on.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years. And the same region is called Edsras.
Now, the same region is called Edsras. Now, they'll tell you that's America. But when you look it up in the 1611, in the Hebrew, it says Ararat. Ararat. Okay. So when it says Ararat, you want to know what's crazy about that? You know where that leads you to? Turkey. You know what Turkey is?
Wow.
Now you want to know what's messed up about that connection? Give me Revelation chapter 1. Nobody catches the ties to that. Let me tell you what's crazy about that. Because in Turkey, that the significance Turkey have is that it's in Asia, for one. So when we read Revelations chapter 1, first of all, guess what? Noah's Ark landed in Turkey, which is in Asia. Okay. The 7 congregations. Let's see where they are. Satan's seat is there. The original Quran is there. A lot happens with Turkey. So now, let's read Revelations real quick. Let's see. Because Turkey is in Asia. Revelation chapter 1. And start at 1.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 1. The revelation of Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of God and of testimony of Christ and of all things that he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of the prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. John, to the 7 churches which are in Asia.
Which are where?
In Asia.
Now hold on. Ararat means Turkey. Okay, so now let's see what Turkey is located. It says Turkey, transcontinental country located mainly in Western Asia. Okay, Turkey by landmass is positioned 95% in Asia and 5% in Europe. Okay, so here we see Edsras, but when you read it in the 1611, the original 1611, it tells you Ararat. When you look Ararat leads you to Turkey. Turkey is in Asia. Christ said right to the 7 churches that are where? So it's telling where they went. They didn't go to no damn America. When they crossed over Euphrates, guess what's on the other side of the Euphrates? Turkey. So now we should read about prophets coming to America, the Gentiles. That's right, because he sent Paul to minister to the Gentiles. We don't read about Paul coming to no damn America. But I tell you what, we do read about him going to 2 Timothy's. Paul going. 2 Timothy chapter 3, get me verse 11.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 11. Persecutions, afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra.
And who?
At Lystra.
Now, guess what? You guess where Lystra is? Lystra was a city in central Anatolia, now a part of present-day Turkey. It is mentioned 5 times in the New Testament. Lystra was visited several times by Paul the apostle, along with Barnabas and Silas. There met a young disciple, Timothy. So if they wasn't there, then what the hell is Paul going back there so many times for? Right. And why did he take so many people there? Because they knew what the 10 tribes were. All right. Now, watch this. So when you read this, you have to ask them to show you some scriptures of Paul or the disciples coming to America. They cannot. But what we can do is show you scriptures of them going to Turkey. Right. We can show you Ararat means Turkey. Turkey is located in Asia. Asia is where the 7 churches are. See the connection? Yeah. All right. Let me put you, take him off. I'm gonna let him bring out some information. Shalom, shalom. Y'all ready? All right, I'm gonna put you on now. I'm gonna take you off the mute. You know what I'm saying? Take me, I'm gonna mute myself. You know what I'm saying? Just bring it on out. Bring it on out. Hey, glory to the Father. All right, go ahead. I can't get the business started.
Columbus used the Apocrypha in order to get to America where the tribes was at.
Repeat that.
Because they says that Columbus used the Apocrypha in order to get to America.
I'm gonna catch what. Hello? Yeah, I couldn't get the damn thing to unmute when you went to talking. So we only catch it when you saying something about Columbus. Yeah. Oh, that's what he said. My bad. All right, just my bad. Run it back from the top for me, dog. All right. My bad, y'all. And it's doing it again. It won't let me take him off mute.
Turkey. Now we're finna go because they says that Columbus used the Apocrypha in order to get to America where the tribes was at. Go ahead, read this. This is called Columbus and the Jews.
Columbus and the Jews. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and his interpreter was a Jew whose name was Lou, and that is true.
Go ahead.
Indeed, it is true. Louis de Torres was not the only Jew who sailed with Columbus on the 3rd of August that year. Columbus' navigator and his doctor were also Jews.
Now notice, it's calling them Jews. Read.
All three and two more were Jews who underwent formal conversion to Christianity one day before the voyage began, but were nevertheless viewed as Jews both by other Jews and by the Spanish Christians, who called Jews converts to Christianity marinos, meaning swine.
Go ahead.
Columbus included de Torres because de Torres spoke Hebrew.
Because he spoke what?
Spoke Hebrew.
Because he spoke Hebrew. Read.
Columbus evidently believed or wanted to believe that he would meet Hebrew-speaking Jews on reaching the other side of the world.
So he took a Hebrew interpreter with him because he anticipating running into somebody. Read.
Columbus believed that he would find the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
The 10 what?
10 lost tribes of Israel.
So he's looking for intentionally the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Read.
And hence thought he would need a Hebrew speaker. It should be noted the voyage of Columbus was financed by 2 Jews, i.e.
Now notice, it's calling them Jews, but they looking for the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Read.
Louis de Santiago, Chancellor of the royal household of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and Gabriel Sanchez, Treasurer of Aragon, both conversos, of course.
All right.
Pay attention.
We're gonna pick this up. So we're gonna go into his interpreter. You wanna read this first before we call it? Go ahead.
It says, when de Torres landed on Hispaniola, he saw a bird which he thought was a peacock and named it Tucky.
So he named it what?
Tucky.
Tucky, right?
The Hebrew word for that animal. We therefore call it turkey.
Call it a what?
Turkey.
So that's how the turkey got its name. That's just one to grow on. But go ahead. Pick this Luis del Toro or Torres. This is his interpreter. Yep, pick it up right here.
Louis del Toro was employed by Christopher Columbus as an interpreter on his first voyage to the New World.
To the what?
To the New World.
So Columbus is intending to go to the new world. Remember, second Edsras said that they go into a place where never mankind dwelt. His intention is to come to the new world. Read.
Prior to this, the Taurus held a position with one Shakon.
And we know he's looking for the 10 lost tribes in the new world. Read.
Governor of Mercia, province where the large number of Jews, as a Hebrew interpreter, because he was Jewish, and this was during the time of the Inquisition, it was necessary for him to convert to Catholicism, which he did the day before the Nina. The Pinta, the Santa Maria, set sail on August 2nd, 1492. The voyage also coincided with the expulsion of all Jews from Spain.
From where?
From Spain.
Go ahead.
Because he was versed in Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin, and some Arabic. Columbus had thought that he would be helpful upon their arrival.
Right.
Especially useful would be his knowledge of Hebrew and Aramaic, as Columbus fully expected to encounter Asian descendants of the last tribes of Israel.
Of who?
The last tribes of Israel.
Now remember,
because they was in Asia.
He's going to the new world. He's looking for the 10 lost tribes of Israel. This is his purpose. Read.
After reaching Cuba.
After reaching where?
After reaching Cuba.
After reaching Cuba. Read.
Columbus, believing they had arrived in Asia.
And where?
In Asia.
So they got lost. They actually thought that they was going to Asia, which is where's Turkey at. So he knew where they was actually at. If you want to use this, he knew exactly where they was at. They got lost and came to Cuba. But he thought that they was in Asia.
Bang.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see why he thought he was in Asia, going where the 10 tribes was at. Let's get Revelations 1 and 11. So Columbus was in Cuba, but he thought that he was in Asia, looking for the 10 lost tribes. Revelations 1 and 11.
Revelations 1 11. Say, I am Alpha and Omega, and what you see, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia.
Which are where?
Which are in Asia.
Which are in Asia. Read.
Unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
So right here we see that the 7 congregations is in Asia, because Columbus knew exactly where they was at. He made a mistake and went to Cuba.
Exactly.
It wasn't on purpose. He was actually going, trying to find them because he knew exactly where they really was at. So now that we know that they at, let's go to Matthew 10 and 5.
And that right there is how you get the white man calling people here Israelites. Why? Because he was trying to get to Asia, but got lost and thought that he was
5.
in Asia.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 5. And these 12, Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter you not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Go where?
To the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
He said, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now remember, at this time, Judah, the southern kingdom, is still in the land, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he specifically says, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, where did Paul go? He went to Rome. He went to Corinthians. He went to Galatia. He went to Ephesians, the Philippians. Colossians and Thessalonians. All of these places are where? In Asia and Turkey, all up in the like Europe area, which is where they went. Where did Peter go? Let's get 1 Peter. 1 Peter 1:1. First Peter 1:1.
1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 1. Peter, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus.
Well, where?
Pontus.
Go ahead.
Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, and Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of the Most High.
So as Peter went to these same places, which is all in and around Turkey, and he told them to go to these people. So we should be seeing them coming to America or something if they was actually over here. Let's get Ezekiel 34 and pick it up at verse 5. So when our people got somewhere, they didn't stay put. Ezekiel 34, pick it up at verse 5.
Ezekiel 34 and verse 5. And they were scattered because there is no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. My sheep wandered through all the mountains.
They did what?
My sheep wandered through all the mountains.
My sheep wandered through all the mountains. Go ahead.
And upon every high hill. Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them.
Now read that verse again.
My sheep wandered through all the mountains.
All the kingdoms. Mountain stands for kingdom. Go ahead.
And upon every high hill. Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth.
Where at?
Upon all the face of the earth.
All the face of the earth, not just the western hemisphere. Read.
And none did search or seek after them.
Hosea 9 and 16. Almost done. Hosea 9 and 16.
Hosea chapter 9 and verse 16. Ephraim is smitten. Their root is dried up.
So Ephraim is the head of the northern kingdom. So it's talking about all of them. Go ahead.
Their root is dried up. They shall bear no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of their womb.
Go ahead.
My power will cast them away.
Will do what?
Will cast them away.
Go ahead.
Because they did not listen unto him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations.
They're going to be what?
Wanderers among the nations.
They're going to be wanderers among the nations, so they don't get somewhere and just stay. They keep moving. This is what it's telling us. So how can you pick a place and say that they are right there? Don't make no sense. All right, let's handle this cake and the bird. Hosea. Hosea 7. Pick it up at verse 1.
Hosea 7 and 1. When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria, for they commit falsehood, and the thief comes in, and the troop of the robbers spoil without, and in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and the princes with their lies. They are all adulterers, as an oven heated by a baker.
So it says they are all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker. Go ahead.
Who ceases from raising after he have kneaded the dough until it be leavened.
Until it be what?
Until it be leavened.
So the best way to be is to be unleavened. right? So he comparing it to sin. This dough or cake, he comparing it with sin. Read.
And in the day of our king, the princes have made him sick with bottles of wine. He stretched out his hand with scorners.
Go ahead.
For they have made ready their heart like an oven.
So they made ready their heart like an oven. Go ahead.
Whilst they lie in wait. Their baker sleeps all night. In the morning it burns as a flaming fire.
So it burns as a flaming fire all night. Go ahead.
They are all hot as an oven.
They what?
They are all hot as an oven.
Go ahead.
And have devoured their judges. All their kings are fallen. There is none among them that calls unto me. Ephraim have mixed himself among the people.
He did what?
Have mixed himself among the people.
So right here they say Ephraim have mixed himself among the people. So this is where they say how Ephraim and the rest of the tribes got quote unquote light skin and all of this stuff, right? So it says he mixed himself among the people, not with the people, but among them. It's a difference. Go ahead.
Ephraim is a cake not turned.
So Ephraim is a cake not turned. This means that Ephraim, on one side, it would be burned up to a crisp, and on the other side, it would be dough, right? What could you do with this cake? Nothing is ruined, right? You get rid of it. That's what it's actually talking about. It has nothing to do with the color of it. It's showing you that it's good for nothing. He gets rid of it, cast it out. That's exactly what he did with the northern kingdom. He divorced them and moved them away from them. Go ahead, let's keep reading.
Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knows it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knows not. The pride of Israel testified to his face, and they do not return to Yahuwah their power, nor seek him for all this.
Go ahead.
Ephraim is also like a silly dove.
But let's say, for instance, that it does mean to intermingle and pollute the seed. Let's say, for instance, that it does mean what they say it means. Read.
Ephraim also is like a silly dove, without heart. They call to Egypt as they call to Egypt. They go to Assyria.
They go to where?
Assyria.
So it just mentioned Egypt and Assyria. What color were these two nations?
Black.
Black people, right? So even if you go and spin it like you're trying to spin it, that they intermingled with them, they still would have intermingled with who?
Black people.
Black people. So it's still gonna get you on every angle that you're trying to go because you're making stuff up.
As you go.
Let's get Jeremiah chapter 12. Exactly. Too easy.
Y'all already know I
Jeremiah
sliced them up
chapter
with both
12,
of these.
verse 7.
Let's see what you got to
We
bring.
gotta handle the speckled bird. Jeremiah 12, and let's pick it up at verse 7.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 12 and verse 7. I have forsaken my house. I have left my heritage. I have given the dearly beloved soul her enemies.
Go ahead.
My heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest.
So now he says, my heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest. Well, I never seen him break this verse down. My heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest. Go ahead.
It cries out against me. Therefore have I hated it.
So this lion is like that lion that's talking about in Peter. It's against him now, but it's a roaring lion that's actually in opposition of the Most High. So he says, I have hated it. Go ahead.
Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
As a speckled bird. Anybody know what a speckled bird is? Or have seen a speckled bird? It's the little birds that be everywhere. The little brown bird. That's when you pull up a speckled bird, it's one of them real little birds. Go ahead.
My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
A little weak bird. Read.
The birds round about are against her. Come you, assemble, all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
So the speckled bird is a weak bird that's around vicious birds. Because these hold that. Let's get Revelation 18:2. Because it says, my heritage is unto me a speckled bird, that the birds round about are against her. We know that the round about means surrounding people. Go ahead,
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Every unclean and hateful bird is talking about them surrounding nations. That's exactly what it's talking about. The surrounding nations. It has nothing to do with the color of the bird, but that it's a little weak bird that's among vicious birds. Last script, Amos 9:7. And we got one more thing from this historical joint, and that'll be it. Amos 9:7.
The book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 7. Are you not as the children of the Ethiopians?
Are you not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me?
O children of Israel.
So, what color are the Ethiopians? What color? They dark, right? So he says, are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me? So he's showing you exactly how the children of Israel should look. Read it from the top again.
Are you not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Saith Yahuwah, have I not brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Captor, and the Syrians from Ker?
So right here, he just gave you how the children of Israel should look. They should look something like the Ethiopians. But according to the chart and all that, everybody took to these certain places. So that would have been a nice thing of the slave master, right? That if you could make sure you get him and all his brothers, because they want to stay with each other. That would have been a nice thing, right? Y'all don't leave out the little one, because we don't keep the family together, but we know better than that. Read that.
And the making of America. When Africans were taken from their home.
When they were what?
Taken from their home.
When they were taken from their homes, according to them. If it was a whole tribe of Levites, they said, oh, y'all going to Haiti. You going to Guatemala. You going here, you going there. But let's see.
When Africans were taken from their homes and forced into slavery, they were separated from their mothers.
They were what?
Separated from their mothers.
They were separated from their mothers. And who else?
Fathers.
And who else?
Sisters.
Who else?
And brothers.
Who else?
And were torn from the extensive kinship network.
So they purposely, if you was with somebody that spoke the same language as you, same tribe as you, your family, they deliberately sells. So when we come along and say, all of Judah is in America, all of these people is in Haiti, we can't say that because it's telling us right here that they purposely separated you. So you actually are spread out all over the world, not just the Western Hemisphere. And guess what? There is no registry. We don't know what tribe we from. It would be nice to be from Judah, But if you go out and tell that, you telling a lie because you don't know. You say he is a car. He can read the stars and the moon and everything. And he a little light skin. Right, and he light skin. And he good hair, right. So it's showing you right here that there is no way that you can know. Through the scriptures keep telling us that he spread you to the four corners, and the tribes were wandering. They didn't go somewhere and just stop. So you can go and look at them, the Igbo tribes and all of them different ones, and it'll show you how they started here, then they migrated, then they kept migrating. They kept migrating until finally they got somewhere. They didn't just stop. So according to this, that 12 tribe chart is pure. BS. I'll let somebody else say it. Say it again. Say it. BS. That's exactly what it is. It's toilet paper. It's made up from a dream.
That's right.
Right.
They're gonna be mad at you, boy.
Garbage. Right.
They're gonna be mad at you.
I know y'all gonna be mad, but I can't. It's the truth. This is a lie.
Absolutely.
We don't stand for no lie, and this chart is a lie. I ain't trying to separate Israel and none of that, but this chart is a flat out lie.
Cool.
It don't give you no location. This stuff is a lie. Straight up. Flat out. So get your statistics.
Hello. Good points. We're getting ready to close out here. I guess I'll just get at you after y'all close out. Appreciate you coming through, dropping some of that there for my brethren to hear, my sisterins to hear. All right, glory to the Father. Shalom. Shalom. Happy Sabbath.
No.
I pray it was edifying. Shalom.